Florida man charged with assault with a deadly weapon after throwing an alligator through a Wendy's drive-thru. Sound familiar? Welcome to Florida. Here are the 15 worst cities to live in Florida. 15. Riviera Beach. Riviera Beach is a suburb of West Palm Beach with 34,000 residents, a great nightlife, nice views, and so ends the list of positives. When it comes to important things like job prospects, safety, and crime, it's a C- all the way. As one reviewer puts it, overall, my neighborhood is getting worse. It's hard to find a good-paying job, there is a huge increase in crime, education is taught, but without passion. 14. Ocala. Ocala, a decent-sized town in Marion County, is blessed with all kinds of good stuff: a temperate climate, a good school system, affordable housing, and lots of excellent public amenities. Unfortunately, it's also blessed with the kind of crime that makes most residents very conscious of keeping their doors locked and their windows barred. The violent crime rate per capita stands at an alarming 800, while property crime stands at an even more worrying 5,300. My advice if you're passing through: keep your windows closed and your foot on the pedal. 13. Palatka. Fancy living in Florida's Palatka? Then prepare yourself for the worst. It may be a small city, but there's not a lot of the usual friendliness you'd expect in such a diminutive community, with local residents standing a 1 in 135 chance of becoming the victim of a violent crime and a 5% chance of becoming the victim of a property crime. It's more the bar your windows and lock up your daughters kind of place than it is a picket fence dream. 12. West Palm Beach. Beautiful it may be, but when it comes to crime, West Palm Beach is far from a pretty picture. If you move in, you can expect a 1 in 120 chance of becoming the victim of a violent crime and a 1 in 20 chance of becoming the victim of a property crime. Granted, there are worse cities to live in, but it's still far from a pleasant proposition. 11. Panama City Beach. While it may fare slightly better than its sister city in terms of overall crime, it's far from a pretty picture at Panama City Beach. Violent crimes have, in fairness, dropped in recent years. Property crimes, on the other hand, have bucked the trend by spiraling skywards. Residents now have a 1 in 14 chance of becoming the victim of auto theft, burglary, or theft. 10. Pahkee. If you're thinking of moving to the Sunshine State, then for the love of God, stay clear of Pahkee. Nobody wants to live in a place filled with crime, and Pahkee has plenty of it. If you were to make the ill-fated decision to move here, you would be facing a 1 in 35 chance of being the victim of some sort of property crime, such as your home being broken into and robbed. It's no wonder that no one wants to live here, a sentiment which is reflected in the local house prices. The average home goes for $90,000, making them the 15th lowest in the state. You can defend cheap living all you want, but the fact is homes are priced by demand and there's not a lot of it to live in Pahkee, with income levels coming in at just $27,000, the 5th lowest in the whole of Florida, solidifying Pahkee's undesirability. 9. Ocala. The crime in Ocala is just atrocious, with so much of it going on that local criminals must barely have time to stop for a break. Imagine living in a place where there's a 1 in 65 chance of you being the victim of a violent crime, meaning SA'd, attacked, or even murdered. With there being a 1 in 5.5 chance of being robbed every year, this is not the kind of place you would want to raise a family in. With an unemployment rate of almost 13%, the 10th highest in the state, and only $18,000 a year in combined household average income, living here looks pretty miserable. 8. Belle Glade. With just a quick glance at Belle Glade stats, it's easy to see why it is regarded as one of the worst places to live in the state. With a median household income of just $26,000, residents of Belle Glade are bringing home just over half the salary most U.S. citizens can expect. As it so often does, low income, low job prospects, and high poverty levels translate into a depressingly high incidence of crime. This means not only would your kids be poorly educated, but their prospects of local employment are very bleak. You're probably thinking that with all these problems, surely it must have some pros, maybe a decently safe environment? With there being a 1 in 25 chance of your unwanted home being the victim of property crime, living here really has no silver lining at all. 7. Miami Beach. Miami Beach is a place filled with sand, sunshine, good times, and violent crime? With a 1% chance of falling victim to a violent crime, getting sunburnt is the least of your worries. To put this in perspective, the average in Florida is just 1 in 245. with the likelihood of being robbed, burgled, or having your car stolen standing at an intimidating 1 in 20 compared to the state average of 1 in 40, making it hard to relax and enjoy yourself on this idyllic and famous beach. For those of you still not convinced that Miami Beach is really one of the worst places to live, then listen up. There are a sickening 1,100 crimes per square mile compared to Florida's average of 60 crimes per square mile. If that doesn't deter you from living here, then nothing will. Enjoy your time. 6. Leesburg. Leesburg is riddled with crime, and I don't say that lightly. The city literally has one of the highest crime rates in America, with there being an almost 5% chance of you becoming the victim of either violent or property crime. I'm no betting man, but I don't like the sound of those odds. With a very low average housing cost of $140,000 and the 22nd highest unemployment rate in the country with 9.5%, sprinkling on even more reasons to not move to this part of the country. While there are plenty of outdoor activities to distract you from the very real threat of being robbed, there isn't much else, unless you count having a Walmart and a Piggly Wiggly as the epitome of fun. 5. Daytona Beach. You'd think a hot tourist destination like Daytona Beach would be doing all it can to keep crime at a respectable enough level to not put off potential tourists. Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the case. The amount of criminal activity in the area appears like it is too great for the local law enforcers to keep a lid on it. In 2017 alone, there were 12 murders in the area. The overall violent crime rate gives residents a 1 in 90 chance of falling victim to something deeply unpleasant. Property crime is even worse. Stick around long enough and you stand a 1 in 18 chance of having your property stolen. These are the kind of stats that make it harder to relax when you're on one of the world's most famous beaches. 4. Lake Park. Despite having a population of only 9,000, Lake Park is absolutely teeming with crime. With its daily rate of property crime being 4 times more than the Florida average and 4.5 times more than the overall daily national average, if you decide to move to this part of the country, you better invest in a good security alarm system. With over 12% chance of being robbed, safety just doesn't seem to exist in this part of Florida. 3. Cocoa. Despite being renowned for its calm, consistent waves, on land, Cocoa is far from calm. A terribly high crime rate tragically overshadows the region's natural landscape appeal. Per square mile, there are 12 violent crimes per 1,000 residents. That equates to 1 murder, 11 SAs, 55 robberies, and 152 assaults per year. Think that's bad? Wait until you see the property crime stats. Per 1,000 residents, there are 9 burglaries, 40 thefts, and 3.4 motor thefts. Given that Cocoa is only home to 19,000 people, that equates to a 1 in 19 chance of a resident falling victim to criminal activity. I, for one, will not be rushing to start a life here. 2. Lake City. Lake City, otherwise known as the gateway to Florida due to its adjacent position to the intersection of Interstate 75 and Interstate 10, is an awful place to live. Scarce job opportunities and poverty is a deadly mix for violent crime to grow and flourish. With a crime rate of 85 per 1,000 residents, Lake City has one of the highest crime rates in all of America, as well as a 1 in 69 chance of becoming the victim of violent crime. For every 13 people, one will have had their house broken into, their car stolen, or their wallet snatched. Basically, if you forgot to lock up your car in these parts, there probably won't be a vehicle there when you return. 1. Florida City. Florida City has such a bad crime and poverty rate that it makes you wonder why anyone in their right mind would move here. With many thieves and terrible roadworks littering the city and adding to its grotesque reputation, this is just a horrible place. With property crime at a frankly disturbing all-time high, residents face a 1 in 12 chance of falling victim to a theft, burglary, or auto theft. If that wasn't bad enough, there's a 1 in 43 chance of falling victim to a violent crime. Overall, I wouldn't even feel comfortable driving through here, let alone moving in. If you enjoyed this video, watch this one next.